This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1140, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What up, dog?
And in LA, it's new father, Marty.
What's that?
I mean, I'm just trying to mix it up. I don't know what to say yet.
Throw anything at me. It's all right.
New Father sounds like the name of like a brewery somewhere. Oh, have you been to New Father Brewery?
It does.
It's really good. They got a great Belgian.
I didn't realize how much merchandise and like businesses were set around just telling people you are a father. There's a lot of that. Like I get ads all the time of just companies like, hey, here's a shirt that looks really cool with G.I. Joe logo and it says fatherhood instead, and I bought it. You know, like it's a high quality shirt. It's really, really good. I'm not the father. I'm the father who stepped up. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that's like wants to tell you how you're a father. Yeah.
That's a loaded t-shirt right there.
Number one on Etsy right now for Valentine's Day. I don't know how that kind of connects.
I got a hat. I got a hat for Valentine's Day. We're recording this on Valentine's Day.
Let's hear more about this hat.
Where'd you get this
story
hat?
there?
Where'd you get this mystery hat?
Cameron.
I'm wearing a I Heart My Girlfriend hat because I saw it on Temu one night and it was $2 with free shipping. And I thought, well, that's funny. I'll ironically buy a Temu hat. Like it says I Heart My Girlfriend. And so I'm wearing it on Valentine's Day.
Was it really $2? I haven't shopped on Temu
It was
yet.
it was $1.99 with free shipping.
How is that
How
even
long
possible?
does the shipping take?
Yeah.
It came 4 days later.
What the
The
heck?
difference
you kidding?
between the only difference between AliExpress and Temu, because it's all the same cheap Chinese stuff, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is Temu ships from the US. Like everything that they have for sale, they have here. So AliExpress, it's coming from China. You're going to get it in 3 months. So Temu is the same price, and they have free shipping for almost all the items. The only time I go to Temu, because I know it's not good labor, blah blah blah, is when I'm on Amazon trying to like buy an adapter or whatever, and you get in there and you can see like these are all the same products with different names on them, and they're all weird names. These are just resellers. I'm going, that's a Temu or AliExpress product, so I'll literally like go and look for it over on those sites, and lo and behold, this thing was $20 on Amazon and it's $3 on Temu, and it's the exact same thing, you know. So because that's all they're doing is they're buying it on Temu and AliExpress, and then they're just reselling it, you know.
At what point they're offering like, hey, we're going to send you 3 free things. I'm like, how is this even legal? Like, how does this work? Like, how is it that they're selling me 3 items for free? You know, like the entry offer is like, you get to pick a rug. You get to pick I'm like,
it feels illegal, dude. Like I'm getting stuff sent to me for free, like free shipping. And like this hat was $1.99. I mean, it was like, I'll throw $1.99 on a dumb joke, you know, like that's fine.
I would love to westernize the entire world, but unfortunately it doesn't really work like that. And, I can't stop the situation that they're in, but, I can make the most of it and get a cool hat.
All I know is I've been watching a lot of Sopranos lately, and I'm thinking a lot of this stuff maybe fell off the back of a truck. And so they're reselling it at cheap because it didn't cost them anything to acquire it. You know, I'm mafia scandals are in my head nonstop now. So
I want to go back to how Marty's being targeted though for these shirts.
Fatherhood. That's the one shirt. I keep getting fatherhood, everything fatherhood.
I have a friend whose dad bought a Corvette after wanting a Corvette his whole life. And all of a sudden, all his clothes were like Corvette related. Themes,
that became his personality. Was that I have a Corvette?
But it sounds like he got in the same sort of online marketing funnel as Marty, except his wasn't fatherhood; it was Corvette ownership. But it was like
the Corvette thing is real, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, you have a vintage Corvette.
I do, and it's bad.
Did you get it when you were like a newer father? Like you were like, this is my thing, not for my kids. This is for me.
Nah, I got it like after I stopped touring, and I was like, I started doing like commercial production music, and I got a big check, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted a Corvette, and I'm like, I'm gonna grab one. And a C3 was the one that I wanted, and I went and grabbed it. I found a great deal. It was a Craigslist buy, and I actually bought it from one of the 5 master distillers from Jack Daniels.
Oh wow!
I didn't know this, but it's only 5 people that have the recipe to Jack Daniels, and this guy was one of them.
Wow.
And he sold me his Corvette in Tullahoma, Tennessee.
Wow.
And then, so the next thing you want to do is you want to make it your own. Bro, when I tell you that the Corvette world, that funnel is crazy. And it's like Corvette, man, you get it's crazy. Like they got some crazy merch if you got a Corvette. Like I got a little, the little Corvette hat and all that stuff.
Do you
I
have
turned
driving
into
gloves?
an OG real quick. I was like, hold up,
You have
I
the
gotta
gloves?
rewind this. Because I turned
Playing
into an
Bootsy
OG
Collins
real
in there
fast.
with the windows down. And it's like, what do you know about this old time, young timers?
Take the T-tops off, bro. Like I turned into a full Corvette man for probably about
what year is
3
it?
months.
It's 70s, right?
It's 82. So it's the
82.
last model of the C3.
Now, Derek, was your Corvette wardrobe, was it mostly like images of the logo and vintage Corvette stuff, or was it like folksy sayings like "Don't underestimate a man in his Corvette"?
That's a good one.
Or "Don't blame me, I took a vet here," or something
I
like
didn't go
that.
all in on the wardrobe, but what I did was I went in on the accessories in the car. So it's like just ODing on like the little lights, the Corvette lights, the well lights and stuff like that. Like
ODing on those little trees that you put, the black ice.
Right, little like decals and stuff like that inside the car. Like it was crazy.
What color is it?
That stuff is all gone now because I was like, this is terrible. That also happens with Teslas too. Tesla has like a crazy community where you can go all
Ferrari
out in there.
too. What color is it, Derek?
It's gray with a maroon stripe. It's
maroon
original
stripe.
paint, everything. Yeah, it's dope.
When was the last time you drove it?
I drove it in the summer. That was the last time. It's too, bro, dry because the AC don't work, the heat don't work. It's literally it has to be perfect weather.
It smells like
to
Jack
dry this
Daniels.
thing, so.
It's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a little gas smell. Like there's a small gas leak somewhere that we still trying to figure out. Like it has that old car smell for sure.
And there's an element of danger because you're smelling open fumes that if a match is lit anywhere near this car, it could endanger you and everyone else on the road. The other demographic that gets targeted is like when someone buys a boat, all of a sudden, they start wearing more boat apparel. Yeah. Like, those.
What's boat apparel?
Well, those button down shirts that have it's like a flap kind of deal.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's
the
like a
fishing
Columbia.
shirts.
My dad wears those.
They start wearing
on a boat. I don't know why.
Or they have like the little spongy boat keychain that they're nowhere near the water, but they want you to know that they're a boat guy, so they just put it on their car.
I can tell you from experience that thing is very helpful. like I've dropped my keys in the lake and they're just in there floating.
It's fine when you're on the boat.
Oh, it's lit. I didn't know that's what that was for. I never knew what the point of that was. Okay.
Yeah, it's for your boat key. Because if it gets knocked off, you're done. It's at the bottom of the lake.
But the shirts, Marty. So your father has these fishing shirts that they're boatsmen. How many of these are in his rotation?
My dad, like him and his friends get on these like things that they're off it now, but 2 years ago, that was his whole entire closet, every color. And then like they always have these bright colors. So everything's like white or like baby blue. I'm like, why are you wearing baby blue to the mall, Dad? Like, who are you? Like, you never wear colors. You wore black my whole life. But today, you're wearing baby blue. Like, who told you to wear this? Now my dad is only into Robert Graham. That's all he does. Robert Graham, everything. He threw out all that fishing stuff.
I don't know what that is. What's Robert Graham?
Just an
old like Tommy Bahama?
No, it's like an elevated Tommy Bahama, but it's for like older men who love Peter Max paintings. You know what I'm saying? Like Yellow Submarine, the Beatles.
Hold on, I gotta look it up. Look it up.
Yeah,
man.
look up that. Look up Peter Max, and then look up Robert Graham. You'll see it somehow connects of all the color. Like his birthday was yesterday. I got him $100 Robert Graham shirt card. He goes to the outlets and he goes ham and. I don't know, man. He just loves those Robert Graham shirts.
Hold up, bro. These are those. Oh my goodness!
Hold on, I gotta see these. I gotta.
The crazy patterns.
Very pastor. Yeah.
No. This is. What is Cameron? What is the store on? I think you should leave.
Yeah. Dan Flashes.
Dan Flashes. These are straight. This is straight Dan Flash. Like
it's all about like the accent. So he'll flip up the cuffs. And then the cuffs like outrageous, but that's the vibe. He doesn't do the crazy. My dad's like a very simple guy, but he loves his little cuffs because the cuffs have designs and
They're
stuff.
a different pattern, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was more of a thing like 10 years ago.
I thought that was only a thing from Cameron from Modern Family.
Modern Family, yeah.
No,
he's the one who made it.
Back. It probably is the reruns brought it back. I don't know. My dad just all of a sudden, him and his friends started going to Robert Graham out of nowhere. It was fishing shirts. Before that, it was all the costs. Like they have like certain trends that these like older 60-year-old men are on. Like
that's great.
Yeah, it's just they're a little friend group. Like of 8 guys, and they're all wearing the same. They want to go. It looks like they're going to Vegas, like constantly, like they're in a casino with those shirts.
That's it. These are what guys wear to Vegas.
I was trying to find that. Yes, Vegas is perfect. Yes,
it's a Vegas, very hard rock at night. I'm an older man with a younger girlfriend type shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
And they wear Creed. They wear Creed.
Yeah.
You know what? And the Venn diagram of those people and boat and Corvette owners is a very dangerous center point.
They're sharing a lot of that territory.
Hold on. Don't put the Corvette people in there. Please don't put me in there.
No. But there's a difference. Vintage Corvette, your era of Corvette, early 80s, is a different vibe than Corvette guys. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, got you. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
Because, Derek, I guarantee you see those guys walking around with the Dan Flashes, Cam from Modern Fam shirts, like down the Vegas Strip, right? They're going to happy hour before they hit the town, right? I guarantee you in that group of 5 dads, one's got like a vet and it's probably like 3 years old, and one has a boat. Like it's absolutely in there. Yeah. One is in crippling debt, just trying to keep up with the boys.
To keep up
one
with
is
the other
upside
guys.
down in a house.
No.
Do you ever do those thought experiments of like, how much money would it take if someone were say, you have to wear one of these shirts, like you had like a rotation of like 15, and they said, this is your new look and you have to wear it every day for a year. Like, how much would it take?
Am I married at that point, or am I trying to attract somebody still?
Right now. It is right now in life.
Because if you're married, it's like, oh, well.
It'd be in the hundreds and the millions.
I think
it'd be in the 400 or 500s a day.
Oh no! See, I'm thinking for the year. I'd probably do 10K for the year.
No, I do $500 a day. Then I have to wear that shirt.
100%
muscle it
for
out.
the year, Jesse.
I can muscle it out.
Jesse, here's the thing: it starts to build up over time, and you start becoming that guy. So the 10,000 sounds good initially, but then you have to start thinking of pain and suffering. You need $500 a day. It's going to start to add up at the very end because you're going to be wearing this thing. It's going to be like, I'm just,
you got to think too, like your friends aren't going to go hang out with you anymore. Yeah. Like, and the people who do want to hang out with you looking like that aren't people you want to spend time with. So it's like, you're stuck for a year.
Kids are crying. You
can't go to your kids' basketball games.
Divorce.
Marty, why the kids crying?
It just starts you're upside down in the house now. Like everything is changing for you. When you start wearing this journey changes everything.
I live in an area that there's a heavy density of like marinas and marina restaurants. I could easily ensconce myself in a new group of friends for 1 year. Yeah, and they're probably messing around at those marinas.
They're probably wearing the same thing.
You'll make a lot of money on crypto.
Or they love to talk to you about it. Listen, I could
Rothstein.
ensconce myself for 1 year. It's a temporary ensconcing, and then I'm back to my old thing.
Now, after that, it changes you, Jesse.
Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to worship leader Josh Baldwin. He has a new album about to come out. You're going to hear about it. And the conversation goes in some unexpected directions. You don't want to miss that. Also, we have your feedback at the end of the show, but stay tuned. Right now, Emily joins us for Relevant Buzz. You're listening to Arlie. The song is Landline. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by Factor. Factor's ready-to-eat meal deliveries take the stress out of meal planning and set you up for success in the new year. You get to skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue, and instead get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. They have over 35 meals to choose from every week, and if you have dietary restrictions like keto or calories or vegan or vegetarian, they have all that. Plus, they have other add-ons and smoothies and stuff. I have been a Factor customer for a while now, Every Monday, my new box shows up, and I'm telling you, it's what I eat. Their chef-prepared meals are ready literally in 2 minutes. Well, right now, Factor has a special deal for Relevant Podcast listeners. You can head over to factormeals.com/relevant50 and use code relevant50 to get 50% off. That's code relevant50 at factormeals.com/relevant50 to get 50% off. Go do it.
Season 4 of The Chosen is in theaters now, and the reviews that count are in.
Amazing. Did not disappoint.
Flurry of emotions. It was powerful, heartbreaking, uplifting.
You have got to come and see it. It is a message for everybody. I highly recommend that you come out and see The Chosen Season 4.
Episodes 1 through 3 of The Chosen Season 4 are in theaters till February 14th. So visit thechosenriseup.com and get your tickets now. That's thechosenriseup.com for tickets today.
Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Please welcome to the show our managing editor, Downtown Emily Brown. Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week. Hey, Emily.
Hey, y'all.
Emily, I know you've been on in the queue waiting to come on. Did you catch Jesse's thing about these horrible men's shirts, middle-aged men's shirts?
Yes.
Because you're speaking about Marty's father here, so.
Oh, yeah.
And no disrespect to Mr. Marty's father here, but
he doesn't wear the crazy ones. He's toned down. I'm just setting that up. Yeah.
Well, because y'all were sending some links in the chat of those shirts, and I was like, okay, yes. I know exactly the type of man who wears these. And the thing is like, it's not even just the shirt that's bad; it's also the way that he kind of styles it, because he's either buying a size too small, so it's really, really tight, or he doesn't have it buttoned all the way up as he should. Like, it's like there's too many buttons that are undone, that it's like, either way, I know exactly who this man is, and I steer clear of him as far as I can.
Here's my thing. If they are a church-going person, they absolutely tried to be the electric guitar player in the worship band. That person owns
Pastor Benny, this man had one foot working. And that's just like the type of shirt that you're getting, energy with this shirt.
Guys, can we talk about the obvious thing? Like, why are these shirts so expensive?
The patterns are so complicated.
Yeah, it's the Dan Flashes thing. I just looked. We have a Robert Graham outlet here in Orlando. So next time you come down,
we're gonna go.
We can go.
You guys know my price. Listen, 1 year, I will wear these every day to every day at work and every social function. In exchange, I get a whole wardrobe of these and $10,000.
I get a whole wardrobe.
Here's the thing. I actually think you need to have your wife set the price, because she's the one that has to look at you. So like, you might be okay getting $10K. She might need like $50K.
Yeah, because she has to look at it. Jesse doesn't have to look at it all day.
And I don't care. The other thing too is I just don't care. Marty, what's your price to become this guy?
It's like $300 a day. Every day that I wear it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, so it's gonna add up.
Oh, that's it. Well, hold on. That's it. That's only like
times 365.
No, that's decent.
It's a lot.
100K. Because if I'm going 1,000 a day, that's only 365,000. I'm at $1 million. I'm at $1 million for a year.
Yeah. It has to be $1 million.
You need $1 million to wear that kind of shirt every day
to become this guy.
Because he has to understand he's single. It's a little bit different.
It's like it's going to force me to be single for another year, and I would like to not be.
The type of woman that he's going to attract. Yeah, the type of woman he's going to attract.
Because any self-respecting woman is not going near him.
You could make a trip down to the Villages in one of these and like bring a pickleball paddle. And I guarantee you would walk away with the phone numbers of several eligible young ladies.
You're saying my dating pool, my target dating pool is single retirees?
If you're wearing this shirt, wearing this shirt,
yeah.
I'm saying if you're wearing one of these shirts, I think that's what you've limited yourself to.
All right, Emily, what's happening this week?
God, you guys really set me up with the worst transitions. Because we're going to talk about, I want to talk about Mark Ruffalo, because we heard a really interesting story about him this week.
Mark Ruffalo could pull these off.
If he was playing a specific character in a movie, he could pull this off.
He was playing
it wouldn't shock me if he's got one in the closet. It wouldn't shock me. Like, I'd be surprised but not shocked if he's got one that occasionally makes it out,
Yeah, when he and his friends are going to Vegas for a weekend,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and it's his like Michael Scott has his white jeans,
Yes.
you know, it's like these are the white jeans shirts.
Yes,
Exactly.
All right.
I'm so sorry, Mark Ruffalo, if you hear this. We're not talking about Mark's wardrobe. No, I do actually want to talk about a story that he shared this week. So he's doing the interview rounds right now, promoting his latest film, Poor Things. Anyway, so Mark was on NPR's Fresh Air this week, and one of the things they talked about was his religious upbringing, which I don't know if a lot of people know about. He had like a multi-religious background. So his family was Italian Catholic, and then his mom and grandma converted to Assembly of God, while his dad went to Baha'i faith. So he had like a very eclectic religious upbringing, I guess you could say. But he shared the story of the time that he attended a Jimmy Swaggart revival service. You know, Jimmy was
in the 70s, so pre-scandal.
Jimmy Swaggart. Yeah, that is important to clarify. You know, for those who don't know.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. You know, Jimmy was the televangelist, kind of like Jim Bakker, Jerry Falwell. But yeah, this was in the 70s. I think the 80s or 90s is when the scandal came out.
80s, yeah.
So yeah, back in the 70s, again, pre-scandal, Jimmy came to Mark's hometown in Kenosha, Wisconsin for a revival service. And Mark went with his grandma, who really wanted him to be saved and like feel the spirit, right? So during the service, she basically forced Mark to go to the front so that Jimmy could lay hands on him.
No, she didn't force him. She said for her birthday, her wish was that he would get saved, and he wanted to make his grandma happy, so he was totally down. He wanted to. That's what he said.
Encouraged him. We'll say that. Encouraged him to go down.
Right. There we go. That good
Maybe
compromise.
let's let Mark take it from here. Why don't you play the clip so we can hear what Mark had to say?
Yeah, so they bring the kids down. Like, it was a special moment. We're like, okay, we're going to bring the children down, you know? And so I'm walking down there. I was like, I want to be saved. I mean, I don't want to go to hell. I certainly don't, you know, like, that would suck. And it's going to make my grandma happy. But, man, this is so intense down here, and he's so sweaty, and everyone's, like, talking in different languages. And it was... So I got down there, and we're lined up, and they're going, you know, each kid's getting prayed on from kid to kid, and they're falling down, or, you know, people are falling over, and it wasn't happening. And I was like, I'm not feeling it. And then finally I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to be the one who's like, doesn't get Jesus today. I'm like, no, not me. Nuh-uh. And I just kind of went with it, you know?
So you fell over too?
Yeah, and it was horrible.
Yeah, did you feel bad? Did you feel like you were kind of lying?
Oh, God, I felt
something?
so ashamed. Yeah, are you kidding me? I was like, I didn't feel anything. Like, I was supposed to, everyone's here is like feeling so much, and I didn't feel anything. And, you know, I went back up there, and she's like, how was it? I was like, oh, it's really good, you know? She's like, did you feel it? I was like, yeah, I felt it, yeah. And, oh, man, I mean, what that sets up in you at so early an age is so difficult for your your ongoing relationship. It just became this thing that was always there that I didn't understand. Now I do, but I didn't then. And it was just a just shameful feeling.
So he actually, and we wrote about this at the site, he actually attributes that experience to him ultimately getting into acting, because at 8 years old, he learned that he had to put on a mask to be accepted by his grandma. And so he put on the mask for the rest of his life to make her happy. And then he ended up getting into acting. And he actually had an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, right, Emily? Where he actually makes that point.
Back in 2010, he like briefly retold this story. And he said, when Jimmy Swaggart touched me and all the other kids around me were falling on the ground, I had my first acting experience. I was on my knees waiting to be struck down by the Spirit of the Lord, as everyone before me has. And I just took a dive. That was really my first acting gig.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's interesting to me, like growing up in that world, I grew up in the exact same experience. I didn't have a Baha'i father, but it was the AG. And and this is something that I've in therapy had to actually really work through, is that because so much emphasis is put on the physical manifestation of the Holy Spirit, and like the more you show God's hand on you, you know, then you're more holy or whatever. So the people who are raising their hands in worship or falling down when the preacher prays for them or speaking in tongues. Like, you are more spiritual, whatever. And that's what the parents all want for their kids and stuff. And I found myself acting, like not in a negative way. Like, it didn't push me away from the Lord, but it's like, I wanted something that I wasn't feeling. And also I knew that my mom would approve or wants that for me. And so it put a wedge there. Exactly what Mark was saying. It, like, I was almost in tears listening to his experience because it was very familiar to me growing up in that world, that you learn how to perform for acceptance.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people, even if that wasn't the totality of their experience in that world. I think even some of the most like quote unquote like spiritual people from time to time have felt a variation of that,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just want to say to anybody out there that's experienced anything like that, I can definitely identify that I've been there. I just want to say that, it's like, there's people out there that understand your pain, and that, man, God loves you regardless of what happens outwardly. Like, he cares about what's inside of you. He cares about your heart. He cares about your love for people, and he cares about your love for him. And you don't have to perform to be accepted by him. And there's anybody out there that feels that way. Now, I'm also not saying that if anybody is operating in the spirit in that way is performing, but I'm saying if not, like, God still loves you. Like, his love for you is not based on your performance in any shape, form, or fashion as far as outward things. He cares about what's in your heart and your love for him. So definitely. And if you need to heal.
When I went off on my own, college and elsewhere, like I went to ORU, which is the same world, but having grown up the way I grew up and needing or wanting to, play the role of the perfect kid for my parents and whatever in church, I wanted my faith to be my own faith. I wanted to encounter God for myself without my parents watching, And so, like, I remember we had like revival meetings and the preacher would come around praying for all the students and stuff. And I would, you'd see people falling down or whatever. I would lean into it, I'm not going to fall down because the preacher pushed me or whatever. If I get knocked on my butt, it's because God's presence was so strong. You know what I mean? It's going to be the real thing or nothing at all. And I kind of had that kind of determination in my spiritual life as I went into adulthood that I don't care about performing. I don't care about, going with the flow, what everybody else is doing. I'm going to encounter God for myself for real, and it's going to be mine. You know what I mean? And thankfully I had that experience, and God radically encountered me when I was in college and kind of set the course of my life. But man, growing up, the family dynamic thing, the shame thing, the faking it thing, that was real. Yeah. And it's been a lot of therapy to get, kind of understand that, it kind of put a wedge in my own family, my relationship with my parents. Like, I had to put on a mask for them, you know what I mean? And that's a tough place to live. And it's interesting that Mark had that same experience. So I think a lot
and
of
that it led him into acting. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he just leaned into it. I'm really good at faking it.
Yeah, that's why I chose the role of the Hulk.
I've lost internal anger inside.
How do we go from Robert Graham shirts to like bearing my soul about childhood
because
shame?
The guy who prayed for Mark Ruffalo was wearing one.
Exactly right.
By the way, I do have a Robert Graham. I do have a quick Robert Graham update if you guys would like it.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I was paying attention entirely, but I was also had the Robert Graham website up, and I noticed the navigational items on this site.
Yeah,
they have what's new, men, women. The other one is sale, golf clubhouse. But I couldn't help but select the limited edition tab. No. It's under this tab where you will find an exceptionally fine collection, including a bomber jacket that is marked down from $998 to $531, and it is called the limited edition Take the Throne Bomber. It is one of the greatest jackets I've ever seen, and it also you can buy matching pants for it. But frankly, everything in the limited edition tab is Marty. I would like the listeners. I would like to start a GoFundMe and have the listeners each contribute, and whatever they however much money they give you, you have to use it entirely in the limited edition tab for presents for your dad.
When you were saying that, I literally got an email from Robert Graham because I bought my dad a gift card yesterday, and I don't know what time it is. I guess it's 9:30. I got it in the morning. I got an email from them. I just unsubscribed. That jacket is absolutely insane.
I'll be honest. That some of the stuff is getting very close to stage magic territory.
All right, what else do you have, Emily? No more online shopping. Let's move this along.
Moving it along. So it is
right.
It is February, which is Black History Month, and there's a really important poll that came out that I just kind of want us all to be aware of. Rasmussen Reports found that only 15% of Americans believed racial relations are getting better, which is actually a decrease from 18%, which was reported last year.
So after everything in 2020, the reckoning, the racial reckoning, everybody's eyes have been opened. Nobody thinks things are actually getting better.
And actually 42% said race relations are getting worse. So like we said, like 4 years.
Oh gosh, 15 better, 42% worse.
Yeah.
Oh my. Let's go back to online shopping. It's more uplifting than that information you just brought.
Yeah. But you look, I feel like we're as a country are waiting for something really good to happen. Like, because it just feels like things have been in a lull since COVID. And I think we just need a course correction, something to inspire us and push us in the right direction. I'm really optimistic. You have to keep your optimism in times like this. You have to, because we need something to push us in the right direction. Like, we just need something. And I think that we can be the something that we need. I think this show for me is the something. Every week we get to hang out with y'all and look, we get to have good laughs and good fun. I think that that's what the country needs, even to fix race relations and everything. Just, we need to get back to loving people again. And you know what I'm saying? Find the optimism in the darkness right now.
All right. What's the last thing, Emily?
Last thing. It's also, the month of love. It is February. And there's another study that came out that said adults who are married report being far happier than those in any other relationship status. And
that's right.
I love reporting on this
Cameron,
as an incredibly single person.
Awesome.
I listen. I am happy in marriage, but I do wonder if this poll was like, were they stopping people on the street? Because if that's the case, you're not going to, because if this is like man on the street type thing, and everyone with their spouse is going to be like, no, how could it be happier? That's
hilarious.
I'm just curious about the methodology.
I'll tuck into that. It's from Gallup, which is like a little bit more legit than just a man on the street.
Legit. Yeah.
I will say personally, I have beef with this, but I also do recognize that I'm probably more the anomaly of like, I'm actually happy being single. I think it's because I've heard far too many pastors talk about like singleness as a gift. And I think I'm the only one that actually took it to heart. Everyone else was like, yeah, it's a gift until I get married. And I'm like, I'm going to go have fun. My husband will pop up when he needs to. And I think I'm on a one woman revolution.
Wait on the kids. Wait on the kids for the love of God. Like when you're married and you just have no kids and you've just you and your wife or you and your partner, it is the best thing ever.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll do it for
Relevant Buzz.
Check out relevantmagazine.com every weekday. We're covering stories like that. Okay, stay tuned. Up next, Josh Baldwin joins us. You're listening to Briston Maroney. The song is Paradise. Hey, if you like this podcast, but you might like it better if there were no ads, you can do that. Head over to relevantmagazine.com and sign up for Relevant Plus. For just a couple bucks a month, you get this podcast ad-free. You get ad-free unlimited reading at relevantmagazine.com, including the full podcast and magazine archives, our beautifully designed digital issue, and a little more. Check out all the info right there on the Relevant Plus tab at relevantmagazine.com. Well, our guest today is Josh Baldwin. He's a worship leader with Bethel Music who's going to be dropping his own solo album, Made for More, later this month. We sat down with him to find out more about the album and ended up having a fascinating conversation about purpose and identity. Here's Emily's conversation with Josh Baldwin.
I wasn't made to be tending a grave. I was called by name, born and raised back to life again. I was made for more.
Well, your album Made for More is coming out. So tell me the story behind it. What inspired this?
Initially, it was I had officially never done like a live album. I guess I did put out a live album, but it was one of those, it was during 2020, and we went back and looked at like worship sets that I'd had at our church and just kind of picked through those. So it was live, but I wasn't, in the moment, I didn't know I was recording a live album. So this was the first time I was actually going to be, okay, this night is live, don't mess up. So that was initially, you know what, it was to do songs that I'd already written, that I had on other albums, and just do live versions. Like, let's do these in a live worship setting, and kind of just show people, hey, here's what it's like when you lead these songs live. But also, I wanted to get a chance to do it and lead them live. But that was the initial plan, and then I had kept writing songs, and I had like a decent amount of like new songs that I was really pumped about getting out. And then honestly, the title track, Made for More, I wrote that song, and I just knew that song needed to get out quickly. And we kind of like turned the whole thing and was like, okay, no, let's do a live album, but just all new songs. And so that was the initial process, but it kind of, everything shifted with that one song, Made for More. Was just, I wrote it a year and a half ago, and it's one of the, I've had the demo and been playing in the house for the family for like a year now, and and which they don't always like, all the songs and all the demos and all that, but this was one that's really like connected with our family and my kids. I have a 12-year-old girl and an 11-year-old boy, and it felt like such a timely song, such a needed song, and so that was kind of what helped shift and change the whole direction.
Why do you think Made for More resonated with everyone?
I love it because, well, initially I didn't think of it as this kind of song, but people have told me now. But to me, it's a song about like our identity in Christ, and the whole song starts out with the line, "I know who I am because I know who you are," and that was what moved me so much. Was just it's just a song reminding ourselves of like who we are in Christ, what He's done for us. And because of that, the cross is there's a line in the song too that says the cross is only the start. The cross of salvation is only the start, which the cross is like the part where it is finished. Like, this is what the Lord's done for us. But because of that, it's like the beginning of who we are called to be. And that's the whole, the message of the song is that you're made for more because of who the Lord's called you to be, because of what He's done for us. And I love that because I hear my kids singing it for the last year in the house. And, nowadays, especially with kids, all of us get bombarded with the world and things trying to tell us who we are and which way to go. But especially children and social media, everything, school. So I loved that this was a song that my kids were singing, that it was just, the whole song is just reminding them who they are in Christ.
You mentioned you wrote that song a year and a half ago. What was going on at that time? Were you like thinking about identity and purpose a lot?
I think for me, I'm kind of always subconsciously thinking about my purpose and, what's going. Maybe not as deep as like who am I on this earth, but like probably even just in the surface areas of like, what am I doing? Which way am I supposed to go? This way, who am I? And am I a worship leader? Am I an artist? Am I a songwriter? Am I this? Am I, so I think I'm always kind of got that in the back of my mind, whether it's deep or very shallow. But I think when I started writing it with my friends, the whole song started with the first line of the chorus is, I wasn't made to be tending a grave. And that's all we had. That's like my friend Jessie, she's like, I have an idea. I woke up singing this song, and I was reading Romans 8 when it's talking about being crucified with Christ and just who we are. And she's like, I woke up singing this. I wasn't made to be tending a grave. And that's all we had. And so I think to initially start the song, and it's the whole idea of like the first songwriting process of it was talking about me singing to myself. Like, I wasn't made to do this. They kind of like pointed us down the path of like, oh, okay, this is a song that we're going to write, and we're going to be singing over ourselves. And just sometimes you need those. I love in worship I think the beauty of worship is coming into especially corporate worship, coming into a setting and turning our eyes off of ourselves and off of our circumstances and looking at the Lord and really focusing like, okay, we're just here to give you all the glory and all the honor.
Before my King, here I surrender my everything. Oh, I will lay my crowns down at your feet. You holy, and I will give my life as an offering. You worthy, so worthy.
Well, you've been a worship artist for a long time now, specifically with Bethel Music for the last decade. Have you noticed any changes in worship music within that time?
I think so. I think there is like a shift of there's the authenticity and even the style of writing. You can feel like it doesn't have to sound one way. I think back in the day when we were all when it was really new to us to just sing choruses or sing. To move away from hymns, if you will, and like do more modern worship kind of songs. I feel like, they were a little more simple and maybe they were a little more down the middle and just easy for us to play and catch on because it was a new thing. But then I think nowadays, the writing and the style, it's growing and developing and getting better. And I feel like you can hear that. And I think people are realizing that congregations and churches are smarter than we give them credit for sometimes when it comes to like singing and picking up a song. I mean, it's just, it doesn't have to be so simple that, for them to pick it up. They'll pick up a lot. I mean, like everybody listens to radio and not every song on the radio is just super down the middle, easy, So, I think that's grown, and I think the authenticity is a big thing, especially the last few years. You could even look on, YouTube and see videos, and the ones that people are more, you can tell by the views, the ones that people are connecting with the most are maybe like the most raw kind of videos and live worship moments, and or maybe have like spontaneous moments in there that are just like super authentic, real, and raw. And I think people are just crying out for more of that. You can tell there's a pull on it. There's a hunger.
That was Josh Baldwin. Make sure to check out his new album when it comes out in a couple weeks. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback. Listening to Benet, the song is Marry Myself. I might have to do that. Today's show is brought to you in part by The Chosen. Season 4 of The Chosen is coming to theaters nationwide on February 1st, and this season has everything. Clashing kingdoms, rival rulers, and when they're threatened by the reality of Jesus' growing influence, religious leaders do the unthinkable, choose to ally themselves with the Romans. As the seeds of betrayal are planted in opposition to Jesus' message turns violent, he's left with no alternative but to demand his followers rise up. So get ready, Relevant Podcast listeners. February 1st is the big release day. Go get your tickets now at thechosenriseup.com. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week, we got talking about game shows. And so we wanted to know, if you had a game show, what are some of the challenges contestants would have to complete? You guys hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast. There's some good ones here. Here's a few of our favorites.
All right, I like Ben. Ben is my dog. He says the garage door race. How close can you get from pushing the button to getting out of before the camera comes down?
Oh, I love that.
Hold up.
Over the camera before it comes down. Because you got to straddle the
you have to push the
laser.
button, you have to jump over the camera. That is amazing.
Because you don't want to trigger it because it's going to go back up. Yeah.
Yes. It gets better the older you get, because it's like, I can't really jump the same. So you have to be, it just keeps you on your toes. I love that.
And the more stuff in the garage, like the older you get, the more stuff you have in the garage. So you got to jump over the power, the skill saw. You got to jump over the broom. You know, it's your
like
son's bike.
Yeah, it's like Catherine Zeta-Jones, like dancing through the laser field at some point. You know, just let's see what we got. I like this one from Bethany: plugging in a USB port correctly on the first try. That's like my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys look at it first? Do you like actually plan it, or do you just shove and flip and shove and flip?
It's behind the computer, so I have to blindly do it for me.
Yeah.
I like this one right here. A 3-point competition, except you're shooting dirty laundry in a basket. That's right good. There is like every man, when you're like cleaning your room, for some reason, eventually you're just doing this to your boxers. You're rolling them up, socks, anything. That'd be pretty fun. That's like a good 90s show that wouldn't exist today, but would be good in the 90s. And then somebody gets a little, slimed at the end. I don't know.
I really like Jeremy Copeland's. The game is called That Ain't Going Anywhere. Contestants tie down a load on the back of a truck that is driven over obstacles to see who's truly doesn't go anywhere. That's awesome.
I like that he has a name, too, for it. That ain't going anywhere. That's like almost like a catchphrase.
That might be the winner.
I was moving at one point, and when I arrived at my new home, there were 2 Adirondack chairs that were gone, and they were lost somewhere on the interstate. And, I know how difficult this task is. So, yeah, I'd definitely watch it.
The most terrifying thing is when stuff is falling, because I've been behind someone where stuff was actively falling off their truck and you're dodging it in the car. That is a very terrifying thing too, bro.
Jesse caused like major collisions and stuff with his
I chose not to check the news that night. It's probably better I don't know.
Yeah, that's that happened to my sister. This guy was driving with stuff, and he was driving with tires, and one of the tires hit the side of her car, literally caved it in, the whole thing. Wow. And the guy kept driving, didn't even know what happened. So best case scenario, Jesse, it's on the side of the road. Worst case, you might have just taking out the whole Doyle family.
Family of 4 is no longer with us.
It's just better. I sleep better just not knowing what happened to those Adirondack chairs.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's more where that came from if you want to check them out. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Well, we were talking about how, like, at certain points in life, people, predominantly middle-aged men for some reason, but people, all people do it. They they get into a thing, and then it becomes their personality. Like they get a Corvette, they become a Corvette person. They get a boat, they become a boat person. You get a Robert Graham shirt gifted to you for your birthday, and all of a sudden you become a Robert Graham person. You know what I'm saying? So we want to know from you, what are the other things that start to define people's personalities once they get into them? Hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast and tell us, and we'll read our favorites on next week's show.
That's gonna be really funny. I already know that one.
I go to the rec center a lot. You'd be surprised how many people are wearing pickleball shirts these days that are just like
pickleball becomes their personality. CrossFit was probably prior to that, veganism,
anime,
yep.
and MMA.
Gym culture.
MMA, yes. Yep.
That becomes their entire personality. Is I'm an MMA guy. It's their clothes. It's what they, how they spend their time. Yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Josh Baldwin for joining us. Make sure to keep your eye out for his new album that's coming out later this month. Also, make sure to check out issue 114 of Relevant. It's available now at relevantmagazine.com. Just click on the magazine tab and you can peruse the content and read it for free thanks to our presenting sponsor, The Covenant. Available now on Apple TV. All right, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Marty.
We'll see y'all on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
The patterns are so complicated.
Relevant Podcast Network.